Welcome to Let's Read Mobile, presented by the Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama. I'm Miss Judy, and I'd like to read one of my favorite books, The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss was a synonym. His real name was Theodore Gazelle, but he wrote under the name of Dr. Seuss. Now, the star-bellied Sneetches had bellies with stars, but the plain-bellied Sneetches, they had none on theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small, you might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, the star-bellied Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetches on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they would snort. We have nothing to do with the plain-bellied sort. And wherever they meet, when they're out walking, they hike right on past them without even talking. When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars. And the plain-bellied children, they had nothing on theirs. When the star-bellied Sneetches had Frankfurter roast, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toast, they never invited the plain-bellied Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-bellied Sneetches were moping and doping along on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix them. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I see what you need, and my prices are low. I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like the star-bellied Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside, and the big machine roared. It clonked and it bonked and it jerked and it burked and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain-bellied Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start, "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty-o smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what, or the other way around?" Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine, working very precisely, it removed the stars from their tummies quite nicely." See, they're going in with the stars. When they come out, they have no stars. And he is raking in the dough. Then with their snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout, "We know who is who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then, of course, those with stars got all frightfully mad To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things got into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day, on those wild, screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Though the machines, they raced around about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money. They kept running through until neither the plane or the Starbelly Sneetches knew that this was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, of course, every last cent of their money was spent. The fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. He laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They will never learn. Nope, you can't teach a Sneetch. But McBean was quite wrong. I'm quite happy to say that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day all the Sneetchers forgot about stars and whether they had one or not upon theirs. So as we read this book that Dr. Seuss wrote, you know, the Sneetches with the stars thought they were better than the others. And even those without the stars, they kind of felt that way too. And so those with the stars just looked down on everyone else. And sometimes we look for ways that we can see ourselves as better than other people. We dwell on our differences and we look at people based on what they wear or maybe where they live. But you know, we're all the same. We're all God's children. And there's no Starbelly Sneetches. Our differences are good because our differences are what make us strong, makes us unique, makes the world a better place. We're all created the same, and we need to know that we all have a purpose. We've all have things that we need to do, and we all need to love each other and don't have to worry about whether we have a star or not. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to watch us next time. Until then, let's read, Mobile.